Hi, Sinead here, and it's Monday, and I thought that since I was posting and I did some lives on Friday concerning with the Venus energy, and after a few things I observed over the weekend, I would get on here and talk about insecurities, relationships, certain rambling, certain conversations I've had over the weekend. Now, I talked about love and having an open heart and the spiritual maintenance necessary to ensure you attract the right people into your life, the right kind of love, the right kind of abundance, prosperity, the things you want and desire from life. I also talked about insecurities, insecure women in particular, and lust-filled men, men who overexert and expend their sexual energy. And I just want to clarify, first of all, that of course, men also can be very much insecure. Women also can overexert and expend their sexual energy. I was more so referring to masculine and feminine energy and qualities in people. Firstly, I want to talk about my insecurities because, of course, we're all insecure about something. You know, we're all humans, we're flawed. That's why spiritual maintenance is so important. Constantly working on yourself, learning, evolving is so important. Most people who know me, people who even knew me, or I went to school with them, I wouldn't necessarily say they knew me, but people I went to school with know I'm insecure about my skin. My skin is incredibly sensitive. I have a lot of flare-ups. I suffer from really bad acne. And as I get older, my skin gets more and more sensitive. So that was something I had to deal with going through puberty. But at a certain point in my 20s, I came to realize it doesn't matter. Even on my worst day, when my skin's at its worst, for example, if I've just come back from Jamaica and I'm full of mosquito bites and there's swelling, there's pus, and I'm having breakouts because I've eaten something that doesn't necessarily agree with me, or I've been stressed, or for example, someone sends negative energy in my direction and I have a breakout, like someone wishes death on me, because that happens to me a lot, where even if everything, my diet, my mental health, I'm feeling fantastic, I feel the negative vibrations from someone, have a negative interaction, a pimple will come out. I'll have a breakout almost immediately. But in my 20s, I reached a point where I just was like, okay, I'm not ashamed of my skin issues. Whether I'm having a great skin day, a bad skin day. If I put on makeup, I'm putting on makeup for me because I enjoy putting on makeup, not because I feel like I have to, not to please anyone else, not to deceive anyone else. Something else I'm insecure about, which I don't think anyone probably knows, are my lips. Now, I didn't start off having an insecurity about my lips. The only thing I was ever insecure about was my skin. However, on 3 separate occasions, or should I say 3 separate exes, people I dated or was involved with romantically, your lips are too small. Why are your lips so small? I wish your lips were bigger. 3 separate men have said this to me. And the first time, the first person, I remember I was still very young, very immature, very petty. And I just thought to myself, okay, where is this coming from? Why do my lips work perfectly fine? Why do my lips need to be bigger? I could go through a whole list of things to do with your looks. The second time, I felt more attacked. The second person, I was like, what is going on? And this is just my internal dialogue. This isn't what I said. This wasn't my response to them, but this was the internal dialogue I had. The second person, I just thought to myself, like, why are you picking me apart? The third time it happened, I was like, okay, this is like an actual, are my lips too small? Like the third guy, I was like, okay, my lips are actually too small. And in the back of my head, I was still thinking, like, why would you're the same person or persons who ask me, why am I feeling insecure? Why am I down on myself? But then you're criticizing my lips. You're finding something negative to say about my appearance. Something I don't even have an issue with. I haven't ever said I have a problem, because I don't have a problem with my lips. I've never given an inclination. I'm not giving off a vibration of having negative feelings towards my lips. To the point where one day a video popped up on YouTube and it was talking about fillers. And it was to do with lip fillers. And it was showing how subtle they can be. And you don't have to do the trout pout, the exaggerated, overly swollen, and how your body absorbs it and it helps with collagen production and yada, yada, yada. Wasn't a long video, watched it. And I came away from that video feeling like, okay, you know what? When I'm in my 30s, because, it was talking about, when you age and, wrinkles, lines, Botox, and when you age, your lips might become smaller. So I was thinking, okay, in my 30s, maybe I'll get a little subtle, the slightest amount to my lips, injected into my lips. Not noticeable. I'll notice it, but no one else will notice it. I'm not going to try and change the shape of my lips. I don't want my lips to be more pouty, but just so they're a bit fuller, to just encourage that collagen production, so my lips don't look smaller as I get older. And then I had to pump the brakes, because then I thought to myself, Sinead, this isn't you. You don't care about cosmetic procedures. You're so against cosmetic procedures, And honestly, if you need to get work done, you want enhancements to make yourself feel better, more power to you. But personally, I've always been dead against it. So I had to now process and be like, Sinead, this is an issue for you now. You have this insecurity about your lips because of these men you've known, these guys who've put this in your head that your lips are too small. Because I was thinking to myself, even if I got fillers, even if I did something to my lips aren't going to become wider. They're going to become fuller. And yes, I have small lips, but they're not terribly thin. They're more so just small. I have quite full, pouty, small lips. I don't have a wide mouth or wide smile. And I was like, Sinead, if you get work done to your lips, it's going to throw your whole face off, the balance of your face, the proportions. You're going to find something else wrong. You're going to want to start injecting and doing other things. It's going to be a downward spiral for you. You don't want this. You're just thinking about what these guys have said to you. And then I had to hold myself to account and really think and say, this is why you shouldn't have become romantically involved with people who weren't right for you. Because now their negative energy has had an impact on your self-worth, how you see yourself. You now have this insecurity that you didn't have before you knew these people. These people were never for you because their energy is toxic. Because if their energy was good, they wouldn't have any negative things to say about your appearance in one breath, and then in the other gaslight and question you as to why you're insecure, why are you acting funny with them, why. Because there was negative things I could have said to them about their appearance, but I didn't, because I didn't want to hurt their feelings. So why were you giving your energy, investing time into individuals who weren't worth it and don't know your value, and who wanted to bring you down, wanted to make you feel bad about yourself? When you wouldn't do that to them. You're considerate, they're inconsiderate. Why were you wasting your time with inconsiderate people? So moving on to relationships, and over the weekend I saw a lot of examples of toxic relationships. And I think this year with the pandemic and everything, a lot of couples have been breaking up, a lot of relationships have broken down, and I think it's only a good thing, because I think it's forced people to realize you have people in your life for the wrong reasons. Maybe it's because you're afraid of being alone. Maybe it's because you're settling. Maybe it's just you need to work on yourself spiritually. Your values are out of whack. Now, I personally believe moving forward, especially next year, once Pluto shifts out of sidereal Sagittarius, this will greatly improve our value systems. Because an example I'll use. If you have a boyfriend of 1 year, a year and a half, say, and it's Valentine's, you want to get him something special for Valentine's. You decide you're going to splash out and buy him a Rolex. And on Valentine's Day, he buys you a nice pair of earrings. But they're not the earrings you want. They're not diamond earrings. They're not of equal value. They don't cost the same as a Rolex. You're now upset. You feel undervalued. You're now questioning him because you feel foolish for buying him the Rolex. But from his perspective, maybe he's upset with you. He wants you to return the Rolex. He never asked you to buy the Rolex. He's alarmed. He doesn't know where you found the money, why you would splash and spend money so recklessly on a Rolex for him. And even though you've talked about marriage and moving in together eventually and eventually getting married, he's not there yet. He's trying to save money for his dreams, for holidays, for a house, a down payment on a house, for an engagement ring maybe, for the future. And you've just splashed out on a Rolex. He's well aware that you want diamond earrings, but he wants that later down the road. He wants to buy that splash, maybe buy it for Christmas, or maybe he's saving up for an engagement ring first, but you've gone and pushed the boat out. So your values and where your head is at has not matched up. Also, maybe you haven't taken into account your love languages may be different. Maybe you value expensive gifts. That's how you feel loved and appreciated. And maybe he just wants you to cook him a nice dinner, a nice meal. Or vice versa. Maybe he's bought you some expensive earrings and you've bought him a pair of trainers, which were expensive to you because you saved up to buy the trainers. But he's thinking to himself, I only wear Jordans. Why would you buy me these trainers? I'm not going to wear these trainers. So now you have two people who are upset. Valentine's Day is ruined. They can't post the pictures to Instagram. And now they're questioning the whole relationship. Because as I said, your love languages might be different. Perhaps you want him to just turn off his phone, get away from his laptop, no business calls, just some nice music, spend quality time together, just absorb and be, engrossed in what each other has to say, great conversation, soak up each other's energy. You just want that quality time. That's what makes you feel love. Perhaps he wants, you know, some kisses, hugs, cuddles, a nice massage, back rub. Or maybe you just want a nice bath, you just want a nice spa day. Whatever the case, you haven't communicated effectively what you wanted for Valentine's. And also, why is Valentine's so important? This commercial holiday that society has told you you should celebrate your love on this specific day. Why have you regulated your love to a calendar? Why do you need to post your love on social media? That you've treated your person to an expensive gift. Because previous generations, what they would have done is, if they wanted to treat their wife to a nice Cartier watch, if they wanted to treat their husband to a nice Rolex, maybe they'll do it for their 10th wedding anniversary. Maybe they'll do it once their first child's been born, for an actual milestone. What I'm seeing is people referring to each other as husband and wife because they're manifesting it. That's what they're working towards, but they're not there yet. They're just boyfriend and girlfriend. And they're buying, or they're expecting, these expensive, lavish gifts, lavish holidays. They want the fairy tale romance and they haven't worked towards it. They haven't necessarily earned it, but they're both expecting different things from each other. And maybe one or both are falling short. And going back to what I said about ex-boyfriends and them making me feel insecure about my lips, or, them just having and imposing toxic ideals in terms of appearance. What is the foundation of the relationship? Have you built a foundation based on your spiritual connection, who you are at your core soul level? Have you developed and, nurtured a foundation and built a foundation based on your values, long-term goals, what you want from life? And when I say goals, I'm not talking about material. I'm talking about your actual happiness, separate from the material. Because that can all go up in smoke. That can all be taken away. Your house can burn down. Your house can go in foreclosure. If you've lost your job this year, if you've not worked this year, if your business is going under, you could lose everything. Then what? What's going to keep your relationship together? If you can't go for the fancy meals, if you can't go on the fancy holidays, if you can't buy a G-Wagon for your partner. Some of you, and when I say some of you, I've also been guilty of this in the past, where you've put so much into a relationship so early on. What have you left for when you finally are husband and wife? Because if you're already sleeping together, if you're already living together, if you're already buying lavish gifts, going on the expensive holidays, if you're already doing all of these things, what is there left for when you're married? What is there left to look forward to? What is there left to work towards? So I feel like that's why a lot of people are upset, because they haven't been proposed to, or they've been engaged for a really long time and it's not moving forward. But you're doing all of those, you're living the married life without having gone through the marriage ceremony. So is that what you really want? Have you earned it? Have you worked towards that? Or have you just rushed in and you're living as man and wife from the first day of your relationship? Do you want a traditional marriage, but the person you're in love with and you want that traditional marriage with doesn't want to look after the kids, doesn't want to do your ironing, doesn't like to do the washing up, doesn't like to cook, doesn't even like spending too much time with you indoors? They want to be out to eat in a restaurant. They want to be seen. They want to be out in the club. They want you to help them to build their social media following. They want you to help them progress in life, but they're not too keen on the family life that you want. Do you want a traditional marriage with someone who doesn't want to look at a leaky pipe, who doesn't want to change your tires, who doesn't want to drive your car to get it MOT'd, who doesn't want to contribute to the household, someone who says they want a monogamous relationship but is still very much emotionally involved with their exes? So again, the family life you want, the marriage you want, it's not lining up. And you're referring to this person as your husband or wife. You've introduced them to everyone in your life as your husband or wife. And the foundation isn't even solid. You've built a house on sand. You haven't built it on solid ground. And now, landslide, mudslide, the foundation, the house is all gone. It's wrecked. So these are all things to consider, like really reevaluate what it is you want and what you can do differently moving forward for your next relationship. How can you heal and work on yourself? I hope you found this video helpful. I'm not trying to preach to anyone. This advice is for me as much as anyone else. I've been working on myself this year especially. I'm happy being single, but I'm such an empath that it really hurts me to see people hurting. And these are just some things that have been on my mind. So I hope you have a great rest of your day, and leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Let's discuss. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.